There are lots of arguments online and of course in the literature space as to whether or not books should be didactic, whether or not there should be some sort of theme or lesson to pick out of. There's no one, you shouldn't just tell a story. There must be a theme. You're trying to treat something or address some societal issue or, and it just begs to ask the question, because one person is saying, oh, I would write to, escape and just write stories where I entertain, or, I would just like to archive, but at the same time tell stories the way that I want to. But should books be didactic? Should you teach a lesson? Is that your job as well as a writer?
Milan Kundera in The Art of a Novel says that the only allegiance that a novel owes is to, the only morality that a novel owes is to its own self. That's the collective history of human consciousness. And that is it for me, because what is morality? It varies across different communities, across different times. I think what is more important, and this also piggybacks off what Damilare said, is the ability for me to be able to pick up her work, even though I'm in China, and feel that connection to it. That is the ultimate use, rather than the book telling me if this is good or this is bad. So I feel like the only allegiance that a novel or a story owes is to itself, to its own honesty.
Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I feel the same. Stories don't necessarily have to have themes. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They don't have to teach a lesson. Sometimes there are no lessons to be taught. People shouldn't put those burdens on writers. I've always advocated for writers being free to write as many things as possible, or write anything they feel like. So yes, they don't have to tell a story. They don't have to teach a moral or that, And even if you're teaching, even if you write a story that is teaching a moral, I think there's a way it should be done very delicately. It's a very light touch. To make people make up their own minds, you don't have to pull people by the nose, it's just a light touch and it's there.
Damn, Larry, you seem to be nodding a lot. Do you agree as well?
I think all books should leave you with something. And so what that means is if you're going to teach with understanding. That's teach with understanding that you are human. I don't expect you to get it right. So I believe in showing human flaws in stories. I think that your job as a writer is, if you're going to teach at any point, if you feel like, okay, I'm going to preach or teach with understanding, teach with, okay, this is what is happening, this is your reality, this is my reality. Perhaps look at it from my angle and see whether it's better. So that's what you're supposed to do as a writer, as opposed to saying this is wrong or right, because nobody knows what's wrong or right.
Miracle.
Personally, I think every writer, whether consciously or unconsciously, teaches. I think so, because even you, without the knowledge of wanting to teach, when you eventually get to have conversations with people about your book, you actually find they learned things from your books. I've seen it, I've experienced it a lot of times. Chimeka Garris might not know, but his book taught a lot. I know there was one key thing I learned from one of his stories. I don't remember the title, and it made me really understand something. So even him, while writing, I don't think he even had it in mind, I want people to know this, I want to teach people this thing. I don't know if you get. So whether we like it or not, your story, first of all, I could just say, I write to entertain, I don't want to teach, I don't want to do, but someone out there will still read it and pick out something from it. Someone would learn something from it, even if I did not intend to. Just the same way in church, they tell you your life can be a Bible someone reads. You could just be walking along the road and someone just sees you and they like you. Like, you act like this, you act like that. I want, more like when you're advertising a product without knowing you're advertising it. So I think when we write, it shouldn't even just be free with it, because how would I put it? art is subjective, okay? People interpret it in diverse ways, in the name of criticism most times. So they interpret it. One person could see it this way, and that person could see. So you will be surprised. Someone will see my What Happened to Janet Uzo as a motivational book. it could really happen. You could find one teenager now who say, Miracle, I love your book, and tell me one character, and start describing the characters in ways I never even imagined.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the job of the writer. I think it's more on the part of the audience, how they perceive the work, how they perceive your characters, how they handle everything.
Does that mean more work for a writer?
No, I don't think so. I think, and I 100% agree with her. I couldn't have said it any better. I think what she's describing is the unintended consequences of your writing. So I think that just go ahead and write is what she's saying. You know, people will grab whatever they're going to grab from it. They'll take whatever they're going to take from it.